Open standing divisions 21, 15, 9 of deadlifts, handstand push-ups or one-arm push press, then increased deadlift and a 50-foot handstand walk or overhead dumbbell carry. The deadlift. This is a traditional deadlift with hands outside the knees. Sumo deadlifts are not allowed. Starting with the barbell on the floor, the athlete lifts the bar until the hips and knees reach full extension and the head and shoulders are behind the bar. The arms must be straight throughout, no bouncing. 2 separate barbells may be used for deadlifting during the workout. If one barbell is used, the athlete may receive assistance changing the load. All lower athletes may lift the barbell from a maximum 4-inch platform stack. Please see written standards for weights for single leg athletes. Upper athletes are advised to use a strap to replace the missing arm or partial arm. Any grips or wraps may also be used. If and only if it is not possible to use a strap to deadlift the barbell, we will allow a single arm athlete a weight reduction and lifts with 1 point of contact on the bar only. The handstand push-up. Note, read the written standards for the new measurement process. Every repetition of the handstand push-up begins and ends at the top of the handstand. With arms fully locked out, the heels and the end or the limb points in contact with the wall, and the hips open and the body in line with the arms. The athlete's heel or residual limb must start the rep above the pre-marked target line. At the bottom, the athlete's head makes contact with the ground. If the heads and hands are on different surfaces, the surface must be level. The feet do not need to remain in contact with the wall for the entire movement, but must touch the line at the beginning and end of each rep. Kipping is allowed. One-arm dumbbell push press. Each rep of the push press begins with a dumbbell at the shoulder and finishes with the weight fully locked out overhead over the midline of the body. The athlete may dip and drive with the legs while the weight is still on the shoulder. However, once the dumbbell leaves the shoulder, the hips and knees must remain straight until the weight is locked out overhead. There will be no jerks. At the top of the rep, hips and knees are fully extended and the dumbbell finishes directly over the midline of the body with the feet in line underneath the dumbbell. Using a rack or box to pull the dumbbell off will not be permitted. At the bottom, one head of the dumbbell must touch the shoulder before starting the next rep. The hand release push-up, scaled lower. The straight body position must be maintained throughout the push-up. No snaking, snagging, or pushing up from the knees is allowed. The elbows must be locked out at the top with feet no wider than the shoulder width. At the bottom, the chest, nipple line, or above must touch the floor and the hands must be lifted completely off the ground. The handstand walk for lower RX only. Please review the written standards for the breakdown of the 25-foot segments. The athlete must start with feet or limb behind the mark that identifies the start of the segment being attempted. And when kicking up to the hands, the entire hand, including the palm and the fingers, must also be behind the line. Stepping across the line or landing with hands across the line when kicking up into the handstand constitutes a no rep. If at any time the athlete comes down from the hands, he or she must restart at the last increments crossed. Both hands, including palms and fingers, must cross the line, marking the 5-foot increment to earn credit for that distance. Each 5-foot section will count as 1 rep. Arm dumbbell overhead carry. Read the written standards for the measurement details. The athlete must start with feet behind the mark of the start of the segment being attempted. And when pressing the dumbbell up, the feet must also start behind the line until the dumbbell is completely locked out. Athletes may use push press, or even jerks to get the dumbbell in position. Stepping across the line with the arm bent constitutes as a no rep. A rep will only count as long as the dumbbell remains locked out. No bend in the elbow or change in position where the dumbbell is over the midline will be a no rep. If at any time the athlete brings down the lockout position, he or she must restart from the last increment crossed. Both feet must cross the line, marking the 5-foot increment to earn credit for that distance. Each 5-foot section will count as 1 rep. The bear crawl, lower scaled. Please refer to the written standards for measurements. The athlete must place both hands, entire hands, including the palm and fingers, on the ground behind the mark of the start of the segment being attempted. Reaching across the line or placing hands in the segment constitutes a no rep. During the bear crawl, the athlete must touch both palms to the floor and raise the hips above the height of the head so that as to be supporting some body weight with the arms. If at any time the athlete stands up or drops to the floor or drops the hips below the height of the head, he or she must restart from the segment crossed. Both hands and feet must cross the finish line to earn the 5-foot increment each set. Each 5-foot section will count as 1 rep. Submit scores to competitioncorner.net by Tuesday, March 20th, 2018, 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. As always with WheelWOD, the video standards are just for visual reference. The written standards must be read completely through for all details.